G'day folks, this is my 1981 R100 RT BMW. It was in a pretty sad state when I got it. It had been sitting outside for quite a few years. It was quite badly corroded. It had this horrible gold paint all over it, all over the engine, the wheels. It was all half peeling off. So I spent a whole lot of time cleaning it all up, getting it roadworthy. I had the wheels sandblasted and powder coated. One of them straightened. The rear had a bit of a wobble in it, and got the thing licensed, and then proceeded to customise it in a sort of scrambler tracker sort of style. Now I'm having a bit of a rethink at the moment. I'm thinking of going down the cafe racer route. I really have a hankering to do another cafe racer. I've already done a scrambler R100R BMW, which I was really stoked how that turned out. I've still got that bike, but I really would like to do one of these as a cafe racer. So the plan is for now to do a cafe racer seat and a subframe to suit that, and then make the final decision. At worst, I'll have had some fun making a cafe racer seat. I want to do another one, and if I don't go that route, I'll just sell that off. It won't be hard to sell. There's plenty of people modifying these R100s. I made this seat here for my RC8. That was my first attempt at a fiberglass seat. I was very happy with how that turned out. It's really solid. It's just a traditional cafe racer hump, but I'm planning to do something a bit different for this one. What I have in mind is I found this teaspoon. It's a back end of a teaspoon which I took a photo of, and I really like that shape. Now whether I can achieve that or not, obviously that's quite a slim, sleek, flat shape, and it will need to be more of a stumpy shape, perhaps something like that, maybe like that. You get the idea anyway, particularly if I want to put the battery in that hump and make use of it. So we'll proceed with that as the basis. Whether I can actually achieve that shape or it comes out looking a bit different, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Let me show you around this bike and what's been done so far. Right, so I mentioned the wheels. It's got brand new Trail Rider, I think they are, Avon tyres, which would work okay on a cafe as well. They're pretty sticky. I've been quite impressed with the dry grip on them. The forks were quite badly pitted and a bit of corrosion. So initially I put these silicone hose covers over here, and I've got the gaiters on. The forks were leaking quite badly, so I just replaced the seals. They're pretty cheap, and that has solved that, even though there is some pitting up here. But I have since bought some new fork tubes, so they'll go in. I have so many things I've taken off and cleaned up and repainted. Things like all the brake calipers have been stripped and cleaned and lubricated and put back together. I've replaced the brake hoses with braided hose, replacing the complicated system. This was an R100 RT with a big fairing, so these come down and go into the fairing and then come back out, and it's quite a complicated system. I replaced completely the master cylinder, the front master cylinder. So I have Remounted the headlight, made this bracket here to mount it directly to the steering head. The ignition has been relocated to the traditional position for naked BMWs. I've got these handlebars on it, a bit flatter than the big ones the RT comes with, and it's got the regular sort of mirrors on it now. I've replaced the speedo with this simple small Motor Gadget speedo. That's a charging light. I've got the control button for the speedo here where the steering dampener used to be. It wasn't working. I don't have one on my R100. Doesn't seem to need one. I've got the old style rocker covers on the engine, and I've got this cover here which replaces the airbox. The Bing carbs just have K&N filters on them. I've refurbished both stands. I probably won't use the centre stand if I go cafe. I've got YSS shocks to replace those. Are the originals. They're pretty crappy and corroded. This is the subframe I made from scratch myself. Not too complicated. Worked out quite well. This is the seat I made. 3mm aluminium pan, upholstered professionally. That's worked out quite well. Stainless steel headers. At the moment I'm running these crappy aftermarket mufflers just temporarily until I decide which way I'm going to go on those. This is the battery that I have been running in it. It's physically smaller than the original battery, but same electrical output. I actually trimmed down the battery box to suit that battery. I probably will go lithium-ion battery like this if I do the cafe. If I do a cafe racer, put that in the hump. The seat. This bike's got 55,000 Ks on the clocks, and I reckon that's pretty genuine. This bike runs beautifully actually. It definitely feels peppier than my R100R. These had higher compression than the later R100Rs, and they were rated at 70 horsepower versus 60 horsepower, so that's probably the difference. It's definitely noticeable. Yeah, so that's about where I'm at. What I've got to do now is make a mould out of this rigid foam, shape that till I'm happy with it, glass it over, and then pull that foam out and go from there. And I'll try and document it and keep you abreast of what I'm doing.